The manliest anime series of all time finally returns in the second half of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure saga. This, my friends, is Stardust Crusaders, the Egypt arc. The world has been a dark place without Stardust Crusaders. I need this series in my life. I've had nothing but Sailor Moon Crystal to keep me occupied. And thank God the manliest, most ridiculous, over-the-top, bizarre anime saga of all time is going to continue, and they pick up immediately from where they left off. In fact, almost immediately we are introduced to the brand new member of Jotaro's team, Iggy. And Iggy is going to seem a little strange at first because, well, he's a freaking dog. He's a little pissed off Boston Terrier who has some personality issues, and in that basically he attacks everybody within sight if he doesn't get what he wants, which is coffee-flavored chewing gum. This is called Bizarre Adventures, by the way. The introduction of Iggy is definitely going to leave an impression. He immediately starts attacking Polnareff, ripping out his hair, and even farting right on his face. And then he starts to battle him when he decides to bring out his silver chariot, which was not a very smart move because Iggy's stand is known as the Fool, and despite its name, it's actually pretty freaking badass. It's actually a sand stand. It actually can transform into a lot of different things, but its main form is this massive, almost Native American-looking robot. That's the only way I can put it. What I will say is, it looks awesome. It's cool. He ends up beating the crap out of Polnareff. Before Jotaro and his friends go on their journey, we learn from the two helicopter pilots that Jotaro's mom is not doing too well. In fact, she might even die within the next 2 weeks, which of course will just amplify the intensity of this arc, which I think is pretty cool. And then right after that, we also learn that Dio also has some new goons. 9 of them, which is kind of strange because Avdol didn't see this coming. He doesn't remember any other tarot cards they could belong to, and this just, again, is going to add a lot of mystery to this arc, and it's just going to be fun to see all the brand new stand users and what they can do. And we actually get to see one in this week's episode. Almost immediately after heading out on their journey, they run into the helicopter that they just saw, which has been crashed into the ground, and both of the pilots are seemingly killed off. One of them crushed entirely under the helicopter, and even has all of this water inside of his mouth, and even a fish comes out of there, and this is your first clue as to what this stand is actually going to be. They find the other helicopter pilot who's hanging out, and he's all malnourished, and he needs water desperately, and they bring over this canteen, and right as they open it up, he sees what it is, he flips out, and he says it's going to attack, and this watery hand emerges from the canteen, grabs his face, rips his head off, and sucks it into the canteen. Holy crap, they did not hold back on any of the violence in this first episode getting back in, and it was pretty shocking to say the least. There was a little bit of censorship, but for the most part, you saw everything, and it was disgusting. So, we eventually learn that this actual water is the stand. It can take the form of this hand and attack people in a lot of different ways, and it even almost basically destroys Kakyoin's eyes. It cuts them both down, and it looks like he's going to have some really cool Kakashi scars going on, and I don't know if that actually cut his eyeballs all the way, but it's a pretty disturbing thought, and this is where the episode basically just sort of turns into Tremors, because they're standing on top of the car, not trying to be attacked by this weird watery hand, which is slowly turning into quicksand and bringing in their massive dune buggy. And this is when Iggy finally decides to try and do something or be relevant. He gets out of the car, but mostly just to save his own skin, because he knows that it's about to be sucked into the sand. Although, this is the thing. The stand user who's using this ability, he actually has incredible hearing, and he's able to use his stand from a long ways away. In fact, when they introduce him for the first time, there's this really great scene where he's trying to stereotypically capture this fly, and he misses for the first time, but as he's walking away, it's flying around him again, and he uses his cane to smack this rock, which then ricochets and kills the fly. It's pretty freaking awesome, and again, it lets you know how this guy's hearing abilities are just so incredible. However, Iggy is able to smell things. He's a dog. He's going to be able to fight this guy on even terms, and I'm guessing that's where the next episode is going. In fact, if you look at the preview, it even looks like Jotaro is finally not going to take any more of Iggy's bullshit, and maybe that's what's going to allow him to be a much better member of the group and not such a little asshole. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders, the Egypt arc? it was a great return to form. It's literally like the series never left. And it's been excruciating having to wait for this brand new episode, especially because they left off by not even showing who Iggy was. And if you did, watch the episode and brighten up your screen, you could tell that there was a dog under there. But just to finally get to see him for the first time is great. And I think it's pretty interesting that he doesn't talk, because they did mention that this isn't like the first animal they've seen using a stand. There was that orangutan that was on the boat, and it could actually talk as well. But I'm really interested to see what else Iggy is going to do and how he's really going to be of help to the team. And just, I want to learn more about his past, because he's definitely got a chip on his shoulder. He hates everyone, and the only way to quell him is with chewing gum, which is just dogs, chewing gum. I don't really see it, but again, you gotta remember, every single time something weird happens in this anime series, I always remind myself, remember, Corey, it's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. It's always going to be weird, and frankly, I kind of like the weirdness of it. And I just really liked how this episode worked, how it introduced the new character. We already got some brand new stand users. The stand itself was awesome and really over the top and violent. Those helicopter pilots got fucked up in so many different ways. There was a lot of gory imagery in this week's episode, whether it be the head ripping off or just the pilot's fingernails being ripped as he was trying to escape from the helicopter. That was so nasty looking, and I just really can't wait to see Jotaro and Iggy team up so that they can fight against this brand new stand user. And then there's just the brand new intro and the brand new ending. The intro, I like. I'm still gonna have to watch it a few more times to sort of appreciate it, but I like the song, I like the imagery. It's very similar to the first in terms of its style, and I really like that they don't give away what like all the new characters are going to look like, because there's this great scene where Jotaro and his group are hanging out on this staircase, and you see the silhouettes of all these brand new characters, which are probably going to be the brand new stand users, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do. And of course, I just cannot wait for the initial confrontation between Jotaro and Dio. I just cannot wait to see these guys meet each other for the first time. It is just going to be a clash of epic personalities. Otherwise, JoJo is back. You should check it out. This week's episode was a lot of fun. I had no complaints with it. I thought it was great introducing new characters. The art style is still incredible. The animation is still pretty great, especially the way they animated that water with its hands and everything and coming up. It was just real creepy looking, especially when it ripped off the dude's head. That was just insane, man. And just Iggy. There's a dog in here. One of the main characters of the series is a goofy little Boston Terrier dog who will mess your shit up. This is just a fun show. If you followed the first half of Stardust Crusaders, you gotta check out the second. Things are really gonna start kicking into high gear now, especially now that we're in Egypt. Oh, and I didn't even mention the ending. The ending is very subdued in terms of the music. It's very, just atmospheric. There's no lyrics or anything. It gives off this sort of hardcore 80s vibe. Just a lot of imagery of Jotaro and his friends hanging out in Egypt. And there's no danger to any of it. It really feels like they're on vacation. And I kind of like that. It gives you a chance to sort of calm down, relax, assess everything, see what you just saw. Because remember, we just watched an episode where a water hand came out of a canteen and ripped off a dude's head. This gives you a chance to sort of relax a little bit, and I like it. It looks good. They might even change it in a couple of episodes because that's what they did in the first half, but still, I'm kind of happy with what I see here, especially that final shot where they had the photograph of Jotaro and all of his brand new friends, including Iggy. They take that picture in this episode, they show it in the ending, and it was a great way to end this one. So, I'm excited. I'm just glad that it's finally back. I'm giving this week's episode a 5 out of 5. Stardust Crusaders has returned. You should check it out. It is just pure badass manly anime. It's manime, my friends. Good stuff. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you guys leave, please tell me what you thought about the very first episode of the Egypt arc of Stardust Crusaders. What did you think of the introduction of Iggy? Do you like his character? Do you hate his character? What do you want to see from the rest of the Stardust Crusaders anime series? If you guys want to subscribe to our channel, you can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.